Hi everyone, Happy New Year. It's the first day of the year 2022 and I'm very excited and I feel happy and humbled to be among those people who have seen the first day of the year 2022. I believe so even for you. I wish you all the best in the year 2022. May your dreams come true, and to the candidates, all the best as you do revision and sit for your paper in less than 1.5 months. So do your best and make sure you achieve. I'm here to help you, to walk with you the journey to achieving a better grade than you got last term, and the grade that will help you achieve what you have purpose to achieve in your life in the 4 years you have been in school. So I'm continuing with paper 3 English, and I'm in question 2. What is tested in question 2? And in question 2 you're tested about the set books that you have been reading, and a question is extracted from that whole story and you're supposed to make sure you write the correct thing. So I'm taking you through what is expected of you as a candidate in question 2 and question 3, and what we mark as the examiners in question 2 and question 3. What we mark as teachers is what I'll take you through. Now, question 2, every essay question has 2 parts. That is the first point, and I always say you should have a notebook and a pen and write these notes so that when you go back to school, they will help you. So an essay question has 2 parts. It has the X that leads to Y. So the first thing you do when you read any essay question is underline the X that leads to Y, which is the X part of your question and which is the Y part of your question. All essay questions have those 2 parts, the X and the Y. The other thing in an essay question is the question must be in these 2 categories. One, it may be in the virtue category or the vice category. Questions that are under the virtue you should show the reward that a character gets from the virtue, because a virtue is a good thing. If you do a good thing, you expect a reward. That is what happens in our set books, the stories that we read, that a character behaves in a certain good way and gets a reward. It may be physical or emotional. So identify, is the question under a virtue or a vice? If it is under a vice, then there is a punishment that follows. If you do something wrong, you expect a punishment. The same in the set books. A certain character does a wrong thing and receives a punishment. That is what is expected of a candidate to understand in any essay question. Identify the X part of the question and the Y part of the question, which you should address as a candidate. Then note whether the question is under virtue or a vice. If it is under virtue, which are the rewards that this character gets? If it is a vice, which punishments does this character receive? So you should make sure that you show all that in answering an essay question. I have done it here on the board that you should show the X that leads to Y, the virtue and the reward that a character gets, the vice and the punishment that a character gets. That is the first thing you should do when you read any essay question. I have taken an example of a question in Blossoms of the Savannah, which is the compulsory set text that you will do in your exam. Blossoms of the Savannah. So it is Rezian's determination that makes her achieve her goals. Write an essay in support of this assertion. Support the assertion. The first thing we said, identify the X part that leads to Y. It is Rezian's determination. So Rezian's determination is our X part. So she is determined. So when she is determined, is she able to achieve her goals? So achieving her goals is what? Our Y part. So every paragraph you explain about a determination, you should also show the achievement that she achieves as a character. That is it. The other thing, is the question under a virtue or is it a vice? She's receiving a reward. A reward is a what? A reward is under what? A virtue. Clap for yourselves. I know you got that right. So when you have identified that, now we narrow down into the book. What is she determined to do? And how does she achieve her reward? Her goal. Achieve her goal. How does she achieve her goal? And what is this particular goal? So explain that. I give an example of maybe 2 determinations in Rezian's life and what goal she achieves. So with that information, you'll be able to look for the other determinations and even do any other question in any set book. So Rezian, she is determined to join Egerton University. It starts from the initial pages where she sends her sister to try and convince her father to take them back to school. And why is she sending her sister Teo? Because she was born a girl and the father expected a baby boy. So there is no positive relationship between Rezian and her father. So we see her sending who? Teo to the father to convince the father to take them back to school. When she's called to sit down and have a conversation with the father, she thinks that the father has decided to take them back to school. Yet, the father wants to talk to her about the culture of the Ma community and Oloisudori to be particular. So she is determined. What happens? She runs away from home when she realizes Oloisudori wants to marry her. Goes to the shop. The father slaps her. She runs to the river. So all these actions you're showing as a candidate, they show the determination that Rezian is determined to go back to school, to the university. In the book, we see Rezian having a conversation with the sister and even having imaginations on her when they will meet Monique. Okay, so she is determined. You are showing the action. She runs away. She goes to Olarinkoi's house. Olarinkoi attempts to rape her. She bites Olarinkoi's finger. And through that, she receives a helper. What's the name of the helper who helped her escape? Yes, you're correct. Then, what happens? She escapes and at last, she finds herself in Monique's ranch. And she's given a letter to join Egerton University. So all along, she has been determined. The struggles she has gone through to get to university, show them. Don't say she goes to this place, she comes from this place. Show the exact action, you'll get the full marks. We talk about early marriage. Rezian does not want to get married to Oloisudori. And the father gave her to Oloisudori to get married. So what does she do? Show the struggles that she goes through. So that is how you explain these things. Early marriage. Remember, when Rezian was born, the father expected a boy but received a girl. So they have never been to a good relationship with the father. So when Oloisudori asked for a girl's hand in marriage, Olekaelo gave Rezian away. Okay? So the struggles that Rezian goes through in early marriages, she does not want to get married to who? To Oloisudori. She escapes. All the struggles, you know, the more she goes through to the point that she gets to Monique's ranch. Explain them in depth. Okay? Show the action to get the full marks. Now, she goes to Monique's ranch. When Oloisudori comes with his motorcade, what happens? The motorcade is burnt. At last, is she married to Oloisudori? No. So show the determination that Rezian has not to get married to Oloisudori and the challenges that she goes through, the weather condition, the hot weather, the cold nights that they are in a lorry going to Monique's ranch. Show the actions that show that Rezian is determined not to get married to Oloisudori. Remember, as she was talking to her father in the shop, she said what? Over my dead body, I cannot get married to who? To Oloisudori. And true to it, she never got married to Oloisudori. So, as you're explaining these paragraphs, every paragraph with its own point. If it's about circumcision, the same. Explain the actions. And at last, is she circumcised? No, she is not. That is it. So, how do we mark this paper? the paper 3, question 2 and question 3, I said they are the same. We have an introduction, which is the first paragraph that carries 2 marks. Introduction: has the candidate been able to understand the question? Has the candidate known the book that he is handling? Has the candidate known the character that he is supposed or she is supposed to focus on? That is what is expected in paragraph 1. For example, it is true that the Rezian determination leads her to what? Achieve her goals, for example, in the blossoms of the savannah. So the candidate should quote the book, should quote the question, and the character that he or she is handling. If it revolves around different character, mention at least 2 characters. So it is true that in blossoms of the savannah, Rezian's determination makes her achieve her what? Her goals. You have talked about the book, the question, and you have quoted the character that you are going to handle. That is paragraph 1. If you have that, you get the 2 marks. We call them 2 marks of introduction. Then the body has 12 marks. The body has 12 marks, and these 12 marks are distributed in 4 paragraphs. So that means every paragraph has 3 marks. If you want to score the 3 marks, you must explain, as I have told you in depth, the actions, not skipping, to show how she is determined. What does she do along the way to achieve her goals? So every paragraph has 3 marks. 3 marks meaning that you should write the X and explain well the Y. 3 marks for each paragraph and 4 paragraphs. Then the conclusion. Are you able to conclude your story? In conclusion, as I finish, okay, in conclusion, that is how you should write. It is true that Rezian's determination makes her what? Achieve her goals, as explained above. So you have explained. Then the language carries 4 marks. Are you able to move from one paragraph to the other in ease? Are you able to avoid spelling mistakes? Are you able to quote the exact characters and not misquote characters from other book? That is the language. So language also determines what you'll get in an essay. It's not just about writing and writing and writing. Make sure you are able to check on your spelling, and also you don't have so many mistakes in that essay. So with that, I come to the end of this lesson. I hope you have understood. If you have any question, make sure you ask it in the comment section, and I'll be ready to address. Form 4s, our candidates, I love you. Go back to those schools and do your best, achieve your best, and make sure that you follow this. Go back to the notes and make your teacher a very close friend to you and your books. You will pass. Follow that, write that, what I have written here, so that when you go back to school, you are able to read with this knowledge. So from Teacher Lily is bye-bye. All the best. May the Lord bless you as you go back to school. May He protect you and keep you. And even as you sit for those papers, may you have good health and remembrance to tackle those questions. So bye-bye. We shall meet again in this social media platform. Come back and tell me what grade you got in English